A very good evening to one and all present. I welcome you all to Ganesh IAS Academy. In today's session, we'll be seeing science and technology based current affairs from the date 9th to 15th October 2023. Let us get into the news articles one by one. The first news that we are going to see is SPECS 2030. What is this SPECS 2030? Who has initiated this program? Let us understand that. So, SPECS 2030. Millions around the world suffer from the problem of vision. Okay, so they suffer from vision problems with a significant portion in need of spectacles. So, of these people who are with vision problem, a significant portion of them are in need of spectacles. But access to eye care remains a challenge, particularly in low and middle income countries. That is the reason why this particular news is there. Okay, so this is the context of this particular news article, and from that, in response to this crisis, the 74th World Health Assembly 2021 has embarked on an initiative called as SPECS 2030. So this SPECS 2030 is actually an initiative initiated by World Health Assembly in the year 2021. Okay, so for what? To provide integrated and people-centered eye care. So that is this SPEC 2030. So this World Health Assembly is actually a part of World Health Organization. Okay, so World Health Organization is set to launch this SPECS 2030, and this initiative's goal is to assist member states of World Health Organization in addressing the unmet need for spectacles, again, which we saw in the first slide, okay, while ensuring the delivery of quality eye care. So they are going to address the unmet need for spectacles, and they will also focus on delivering quality eye care. Next is, there is a vision for this initiative. What is it? It envisions a world in which everyone who needs a refractive error. So we need to understand in detail about what refractive error is from science and technology point of view. And refractive error intervention has access to quality, affordable and people-centered refractive error services. So this is what is needed. Okay. That is the vision of this particular program, that is SPECS 2030 initiative. Okay, so as we saw earlier, we need to understand in detail about what are the different refractive errors and what is refractive error in basic sense. Okay, so refractive error of vision is a common eye condition which affects the way light is focused on the retina. Okay, so the way the light is focused on the retina is going to be affected. That problem is called as refractive error. And what retina is? Retina is a light sensitive layer of the tissue in the back of your eye. Okay, so and this problem lead to a blurred or distorted view. That is also there. Okay, so when people are having this refractive error, then they will be facing this blurred or distorted vision. Okay, next is, what are all the symptoms of refractive errors? First thing is, the most common symptom is blurry vision, as we already mentioned. Next is, it includes double vision, hazy vision, seeing a glare or halo around the bright lights, headaches and eye strain. All these are symptoms of refractive errors. Okay. Next is, there are different types of refractive errors. We need to understand it one by one. The first thing is, the first refractive error that we are going to talk about is myopia. What is myopia? Myopia is also called as nearsightedness. Okay. So what is myopia? Difficulty in seeing distant object, but they can clearly see near objects. Okay. So clear near vision and difficulty seeing distant object is known as myopia. And here the light focuses in front of retina. So this is normal vision, and here this pink colored portion is called the retina. Okay, so the focus is generally on the retina. Okay, so the light focuses generally on retina in normal condition, but when the focus is in front of retina, see here, retina is here, but then the focus is here. So the focus is in front of retina. That is myopia, which causes difficulty in seeing distant objects. And how can we rectify this? We can correct this with a concave lens. Such areas are important from exam point of view. So myopia can be rectified with a concave lens. Okay. Next is hypermetropia, other refractive error. It is also called as farsightedness. And what is farsightedness? Difficulty in seeing nearby objects. Farsightedness means difficulty in seeing nearby objects, but they can relatively see distant object. Okay, I mean they can see clear distant objects. Okay, next is, here the light focuses behind the retina. Okay, so as we already saw, the normal condition is the light focusing on the retina, but here the focal point is behind retina. Retina is here, this pink color portion is retina, and the focal point is behind the retina. That is the reason why people are facing difficulty in seeing nearby objects. Okay, next is, it can be corrected with a convex lens. So hypermetropia or farsightedness can be corrected using convex lens. The next condition, the refractive error, is presbyopia. Okay, what is presbyopia? It is age related difficulty in focusing objects. Okay, focusing close objects. Typically around middle age people will be facing this problem. Okay, and it can be corrected with bifocal lens, both convex and concave. Okay, so normal thing is the focal point is on the retina, but here the focal point is behind the retina. So this condition is more or less similar to hypermetropia that we saw in the previous slide. Okay, so presbyopia also has a condition which is similar to hypermetropia. Okay, so what is the difference between hypermetropia and presbyopia? It is the age. Okay, this is happening generally in people of middle age, but hypermetropia can even affect young children. Okay, next is, how can we correct this? Using a bifocal lens. Okay, both convex and concave can be used. Next is, the next condition is astigmatism. Astigmatism. Okay, this is the next refractive error that we are going to see. Here, blurred or distorted vision at any distance. Okay, it is not only nearsightedness or farsightedness, blurred vision in general. Okay, so the vision is blurred at any distance, and irregular cornea or lens shape causes uneven light focus. So here the problem is not the focal point's location. Okay, here the problem is irregular cornea or lens shape. So this is normal vision and this is astigmatism. That is, here you have a candle. Normal vision is the candle focused on the retina, but here you can see a blurry image. Multiple focuses are there, and it can be corrected using a cylindrical lens. Okay, so it can be corrected with a cylindrical lens. So astigmatism, cylindrical lens. Astigmatism generally means blurred or distorted vision at any distance. So this comparison you must have to understand in detail. Okay, next is, what are the conditions? What are the other common eye defects that we have? These are not refractive. I mean, the refractive errors are done. Here we are going to see other common eye problems that is faced by human beings. First thing is color blindness. That is color vision deficiency, also called as color vision deficiency. So it is the most common type of color vision deficiency. Makes it hard to tell the difference between red and green. Here people will not be able to differentiate between red and green. And then there is another type of color blindness which makes blue and yellow look the same. Okay, blue color and yellow color will be looking the same for them. And then there is other condition where they cannot differentiate between which is red and which is green. Okay, this is color blindness. Next is cataract. What is cataract? It is a clouding of the lens of the eye. That is cataract. Okay, so the lens of the eye is generally covered with a crystalline protein that makes up the lens. Okay, here this crystalline protein is going to deteriorate. Okay, due to deterioration of crystalline protein in the lens, there is clouding of the lens, which is called as cataract. Okay, next is glaucoma. What is glaucoma? It is a group of eye disease that can cause vision loss and even blindness by what means? By damaging a nerve in the back of your eye called as optic nerve. So when the optic nerve is damaged, then it causes glaucoma. Okay, so here the lens is clouded. In glaucoma, the optic nerve is affected. Here they could not differentiate the color. I mean the red and green and blue and yellow. They cannot differentiate. Okay, so this is color blindness. Each and every problem has different characteristics. Okay, next is age-related macular degeneration. This is another problem which is age related. Okay, so it is an eye disease that can blur central vision. So central vision is affected, and it happens when aging causes damage to macula. So what macula is? Macula is a portion in front of retina. Okay, so it is part of the eye that controls sharp and straight ahead vision. So what is macula? That can be asked as a question. So macula is a part of the eye that controls sharp and straight ahead vision. Okay, next is macula is actually part of the retina, which is the light sensitive tissue at the back of the eye. That is this part. This yellow part is retina here. Okay, this is age related macular degeneration. So what is macula? That we need to know. Next is conjunctivitis. What is conjunctivitis? It is also known as pink eye. Okay, so it is an eye condition characterized by inflammation. Generally, if you see this word itis anywhere, like pleuritis, meningitis, or hepatitis. Hepatitis means inflammation of liver. Pleuritis means inflammation of pleura. Next is meningitis means inflammation of meninges. Okay, so all these are different organs which are getting inflamed. Okay, or the covering which is getting inflamed. So inflammation, wherever you see this word it is denoting that there is inflammation somewhere. Okay, this basic understanding must be there. So it is an eye condition characterized by inflammation of conjunctiva. So what is conjunctiva here? A thin membrane that covers the white part of the eye and lines the inner eyelid. So this is conjunctiva. This portion here, this blue portion here is conjunctiva. Okay, and when there is infection in the conjunctiva, then it gets inflamed. That is called as inflammation in conjunctiva or conjunctivitis, also called as pink eye. This is yet another eye condition that we have. Next is, what are the impacts of vision impairment globally and in India? All these comparisons we must have to make. So global vision crisis, what is the condition now? According to WHO, over 2.2 billion people globally suffer from compromised eyesight. And then of these people, at least 1 billion of the cases of these 2.2 billion cases could have been prevented with access to proper eye treatment or eye care. So just because people are not having proper eye care and treatment, they are facing many problems. Next is, a staggering 90% of the individuals with vision impairment or blindness reside in low and middle income countries. This is also an important point to be noted. So low and middle income countries are facing high vision impairment. Next is India's urgent need for vision care. Here, India is facing a huge challenge for providing eye care and glasses to millions of people who suffer from vision impairment due to uncorrected refractive errors that we saw, like myopia, hypermetropia, presbyopia, and astigmatism. Next is, according to World Health Organization, at least 100 million Indians need spectacles, but they have no access to those spectacles. So 100 million people in India are in need of spectacles. Okay, but then they could not access spectacles. This is the condition now. Next is, what is the alarm? And there is an alarming rise of myopia worldwide. What is the condition? Let us understand. Myopia is increasing globally, especially in China. The average onset of myopia has shifted from 10.5 years to 7.5 years in just 2 decades. So, people as young as, children as young as 7.5 years are getting affected. This is the average, okay? Are getting affected by myopia. And then East and South Asian countries, including Taiwan, Korea, China, Singapore, and Japan, are witnessing a significant surge in myopia. Okay, so East and South Asian countries are facing significant surge in myopia cases. And by 2050, this is a fun fact, but then like this might happen. Okay, so it is a major concern here. Okay, so by 2050, it is projected that 50% of the world's population will be myopic. Okay, and it is predicted that half of the world's population will require glasses in the near future. Okay, so this might happen. We must have to take care of our eyes very well. Okay, yes, with that we have come to end of that particular topic, that is specs 2030. Now let us discuss about cholera. Cholera was in news. Why was it in news? Let us understand. According to World Health Organization's weekly epidemiological record, the world reported more than twice as many cases, cholera cases in 2022 as it did in 2021. So the cases of cholera has increased. It has doubled from the year 2021 to 2022. So that is why this is in news. Okay. So this escalation presents a substantial challenge to World Health Organization's ambitious goal. World Health Organization has an ambitious goal which was set in 2017. What was the goal? To reduce global cholera deaths by 90% by the year 2030. That was the goal. Okay, which was set by WHO, that is World Health Organization. Okay, so let us understand in detail about what cholera is. Cholera is actually a waterborne disease. Okay, so it is spread through water, and it is primarily caused by a particular bacterium, that is bacteria Vibrio cholerae. Okay, and there is a particular strain. There are two strains, that is O1 and O139. Okay, these two strains are posing a significant public health challenge worldwide. Okay, next is this strain O1 is predominant cause of outbreaks, whereas this strain O139, its occurrence is being rare. Okay, it is mostly confined to Asia. So O1 is predominant and O139 is rare, and it is confined only to Asia. Okay, so it is a waterborne disease that we need to understand, and it is caused by a bacteria, that is Vibrio cholerae. Next is, it is an acute diarrheal illness which is caused by infection of the intestine. So intestine gets infected and then it causes diarrhea. That is why it is diarrheal illness. Next is, the infection is often mild or without symptoms, but sometimes it can be severe also. And what are the symptoms that we have? Profuse watery diarrhea, vomiting, and leg cramps. So diarrhea is one main symptom of cholera. Okay. Next is, how is it transmitted from one person to another? Actually, a person may get cholera by drinking water or eating food which is contaminated with cholera bacterium. So when there is no sanitation facility, then people might get affected by cholera. Next is, the disease can spread rapidly in areas with inadequate treatment of sewage and drinking water. So when there is no sanitation condition, people will get affected by cholera. Next is, are there any vaccines available for cholera? Yes, there are vaccines available for cholera. Currently, there are 3 WHO pre-qualified vaccines. What are they? Dacorel, Shankol, and Uvicol Plus. Okay, so these are the 3 vaccines that are available for cholera. Okay, so they are oral cholera vaccines, OCVs. That is also important. So they are oral vaccines, and all the 3 vaccines require 2 doses for full protection. This is also important. Next is factors driving the escalation of cholera cases. Why are cholera cases increasing at present? Okay. First thing is insufficient access to sanitation, as we already discussed. So there is a symbiotic relationship between cholera transmission and insufficient access to clean water or cleanliness. Okay. So clean water and sanitation facilities, which is a critical factor here. And notably, this Vibrio cholerae bacterium tend to thrive in warm waters with lower salinity. This is important from exam point of view. Okay. So they thrive in warm water with lower salinity. And these conditions are intensified by climate change, heat waves, intense monsoonal rain, storms, and even prolonged warm periods. Okay. So even climatic factors are supporting the growth of this bacteria, that is Vibrio cholerae. Next is climate change and cholera transmission, which is linked to the previous point. So a study published in 2021 in the Lancet Planetary Health emphasizes how climate change intensifies cholera concerns. Okay, and what have they predicted? It predicted a proportional increase of 38,000 kilometer in coastline, which are conducive to Vibrio bacteria development by 2100, that is 2100. In that year, this might happen, that is 38,000 kilometer in the coastline, which are conducive to Vibrio bacteria. This might happen. Okay, so in those coastal areas only, these conditions will be there. Warmer waters with lower salinity, that might be there. Okay, next is Vibrio pathogens and microplastics. Okay, how are microplastics and this Vibrio cholera pathogen linked? Okay, according to research from University of Florida in June 2023, this Vibrio pathogens possess a unique capability to other two microplastics. So this Vibrio cholerae has a unique capability to other, they get attached to microplastics, potentially adapting to its environment even in open ocean. Even in open ocean, this might happen. Okay, and this interaction between Vibrio bacteria and microplastics signifies an additional dimension to cholera transmission dynamics. Okay, so there is yet another threat that is emerging, that is microplastics are being carriers of Vibrio bacteria. Okay, which necessitates further investigation and policy consideration. So this is also there. So there is a link between microplastics and Vibrio pathogens, which you need to understand. This might be a potential question. Next is, what is the geographical distribution and the cholera trends that we have now? So a majority of cholera cases persistently emanate from Africa and Asia. Okay, with Europe sporadically reporting imported cases. So in Europe there are no much cases, they are only imported cases. I mean, people who travel from Africa and Asia who go to Europe, there they will be registering these cases. Okay, but then persistently it emanates from Africa and Asia. Okay, and in Africa, the 2022 cholera cases were more dispersed compared to 2021, which is a good thing. Okay, with no single country reporting more than 25% of all cases and 30% of all deaths. This is a good sign, but an apparent improvement is an apparent improvement, okay, but it is overshadowed by doubling of cases and death numbers in countries apart from Nigeria, which experienced a massive cholera outbreak in 2021. Okay, so this is also a concern. Next is a similar pattern of increased cases was observed in Asia also. Okay, and notably in countries like Lebanon, Syria and Afghanistan. In these countries of Asia, there was an increased cases which has been noted. So what are all the initiatives taken to curb cholera? First thing is a global strategy on cholera control, that is ending cholera. This is the strategy. Okay, so a global roadmap to 2030, as we already saw, that this is an ambitious goal of WHO. So in the year 2017, they have made this ambitious goal to curb cholera cases as much as possible before 2030. Okay, so the target is to curb it by 90 percentage. Okay, so a target to reduce cholera death by 90 percentage. Next is Global Task Force for Cholera Control. This is also there. So WHO revitalized the Global Task Force for Cholera Control to strengthen WHO's work in eradicating cholera. So to strengthen this, they have created this global task force. So to to achieve this target, they have created this task force, and the purpose of this task force is to support increased implementation of evidence-based strategies to control cholera. Okay, so this is what you need to understand from this particular topic. Next is, now we are going to discuss about measles. Why measles is in news? Let us understand. Recently, there has been a significant spike in measles cases and even fatalities. Not only cases, even fatalities have been observed in Delhi, which attributed to underreporting of cases because of COVID-19 lockdowns in previous years. So, because of COVID-19 impact, there has been underreporting of cases of measles cases. Okay, so this COVID-19 lockdown in 2021 and even in 2020, the previous year, the focus and resources were primarily directed towards managing this pandemic, and other diseases were given less importance there at those times. So which led to weakened surveillance for measles and other diseases, contributing to measles cases. That is why measles cases has been increasing now. Okay, so let us understand in detail about measles. So measles is actually virus, cholera is a bacteria, measles virus. Those distinctions must also be understood. Okay, so it is a virus. It is an enveloped ribonucleic acid virus, that is RNA virus. Just like corona, this is also a RNA virus of the genus morbillivirus. Okay, and measles is highly contagious. This is important. It is highly contagious. There, cholera is waterborne disease. Okay, so measles is highly contagious, and an infected person will often transmit the virus to over 90% of the unprotected close contacts. So it is so contagious. 90% of the unprotected contacts will be catching this virus. Okay, next is the virus infects the respiratory tract. So it will infect the respiratory tract, then it spreads throughout the body, and measles is a human disease and it is not known to occur in animals. This is also important. Statements like these can be directly asked. Next is, measles can be entirely prevented through a 2-dose vaccine, and it has been officially eliminated in many countries with advanced healthcare systems. Okay, so it can be completely prevented, entirely prevented through 2-dose vaccine. Okay, next we are going to see about the treatment, symptoms and other things. Okay, so treatment. No specific antiviral treatment is there. There is a vaccine, but there is no antiviral treatment exists for measles, and severe complications from measles can be avoided through medical care, which ensures good nutrition. First thing that we needed. Next is adequate fluid intake is also needed, and treatment of dehydration. So dehydration will happen when people are having measles. Next is, how can we prevent this? Routine measles vaccination is must for children, combined with mass immunization campaigns. Okay, why mass immunization campaigns? Because countries with high cases and death rates are key public health strategies to reduce global measles cases. I mean, mass immunization is the key public health strategy to reduce measles cases. Next is, what is the trend in India? Measles cases dropped by 62% between the year 2017 and 2021. Okay, and it has reduced from 10.4 to 4 cases. Okay, per million population. So per million population, earlier in the year 2017 it was 10.4 cases, and it is now 4 cases per million population. Okay, so which is a good sign. Next is, what are the initiatives to tackle measles? First thing is measles and rubella initiative. This is there. It was launched in the year 2001. Here the measles and rubella initiative is a global partnership which is led by American Red Cross along with United Nations Foundation, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and UNICEF and WHO. Okay, World Health Organization. And this initiative is committed to ensuring that no children dies from measles or is born with congenital rubella. So measles and rubella together, they are having this initiative. Okay, it is led by American Red Cross. The initiative is led by American Red Cross. Next is measles rubella vaccination. It targets around 41 crore children across India. So this measles rubella vaccination is an Indian initiative. The previous one was American Red Cross initiative. Here it is the Indian initiative which targets around 41 crore children across India, covering all children aged between 9 months and less than 15 years, and they will all be given a single shot of measles rubella vaccine, irrespective of their previous measles rubella vaccine status or measles rubella disease status. Okay, next is what are the other initiatives related to this measles vaccination? They are universal immunization program is there. Even through this it can be controlled. Next is mission Indradhanush and intensified mission Indradhanush is also there, which are again focusing on vaccination. Okay, so with this we have come to end of this particular topic. The topic that we are going to discuss now is World Dyslexia Day. So so when is this day celebrated or when is this day observed, and then what is the significance of this day and what is this dyslexia? Let us understand everything. World Dyslexia Day celebrated annually on 8th October. So it is celebrated on 8th October, and this celebration sheds light on the challenges faced by individuals with dyslexia. Okay, and Dyslexia Awareness Week is also celebrated annually from 2nd to 8th October. Okay, so what is dyslexia? That we need to understand. It is a specific learning disorder. So dyslexia is a learning disorder that primarily affects a person's ability to read, write and spell accurately. That is dyslexia. Okay, and it is characterized by difficulties in processing language related tasks, including recognizing and decoding written words. They can't even decode written words. Next is dyslexia is not related to intelligence. This is also important. Though it is a learning disorder, it is a specific learning disorder, it is not related to intelligence. A dyslexia affected person might be an intelligent person, but then they have this learning disorder. Next is, what is the theme for this year 2023? It is uniquely you. So they are considered unique people. Okay, so people with dyslexia are considered unique. That is why the theme this year is uniquely you. Next is the topic that we are going to discuss now is World Cerebral Palsy Day. Okay, so when is this day observed? World Cerebral Palsy Day is observed globally on 6th October. Okay, it is observed on 6th October and it serves as a platform to raise awareness about this cerebral palsy and also to provide support and advocate for greater understanding of cerebral palsy and also its impacts. Okay, so what is cerebral palsy? Let us understand that. So it is a group of neurological disorder. So cerebral palsy is a group of neurological disorder which affect movement, muscle tone and coordination. So cerebral palsy affects movement, muscle tone and even coordination. Next, it is caused by damage to the developing brain. This cerebrum is actually a part of brain, right? So that is the portion where that is the portion which is affected here. Okay, so it is caused by damage to the developing brain before, during and shortly after birth. Okay, so it might happen before birth when the child is inside, the fetus is inside the womb, or it can be happening during birth or it can be happening shortly after birth. Okay. Next, people with cerebral palsy may have difficulties with motor skills. Okay, they won't be having this motor skills, and then muscle control will be lost, and they will also have an imbalance. Generally they won't be stable, okay, while walking and other things, which can vary from mild to severe. It can be mild or it can be severe depending upon how well the brain is affected. Next is, so this cerebral palsy is recognized as a disability under Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. This act is of India. Okay, so this is an Indian legislation, that is Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. So this cerebral palsy is recognized as a disability under this act, which is important from exam point of view. And the theme for this year is Together Stronger. Okay, together stronger. So yes, with this we have come to end of today's session. I hope you found the session to be very useful and informative. Let us see in the next session. Thank you.